Hello everyone and welcome back finally to a brand new video here on Mat212 iRacing. Yes, I apologise, it's been a couple of weeks. I've tried to do a couple of races in that time. Neither of them have gone particularly well, but we are finally back today here with the F4 and more specifically the F4 Americas series. This time around they've come to VIR, which is honestly I think now one of my favourite tracks inside the iRacing sim. Of course, in these cars, very easy to stick behind the car in front of you. You know, the slipstream works very well here, but quite difficult to make a move. This race ends up being a pretty good one up towards the front where we were battling. But take a look at the incident report right at the very end, because it is chaos. As always, a massive thank you to all of you guys for the support so far on the channel. Make sure, if you're new, you get yourself subscribed. We're trying to hit 1,500 subs on the channel. There'll be a link down in the description below as well. If you haven't tried out iRacing and want to give it a go and want to use my link to help support us, it would be greatly appreciated. But as always, it's F4. Strap yourself in. Grab your favourite snack. This one is going to be chaos. Well, here we are then, down on the grid, ready at VIR. I love this circuit, but I don't know how well it's going to be in the Formula 4 car. Only one way to find out, though. We've just got to get on with it. Lights are coming on then. Final cars are gridding. It is 4 red lights. Oh, not my worst reaction to the lights in the world. We seem to get a slightly better jump than Igor on my inside there, but how will people behave in towards turn 1? Luckily in these Formula 4 cars, people, well, the grid actually is kind of weirdly spread out where these things aren't that difficult to launch. You don't kind of find you get too much closing in on the run in towards that first corner there. It's just trying to take it nice and easy. Igor's internet didn't know you could still use dial-up to run around on iRacing, and well, that's coming from someone that basically was on dial-up not that long ago there. But yeah, this circuit though is going to be very slipstream orientated today. Of course, especially in these lower powered Formula cars, you can hang close through the S's and things like that, and of course then gain a little bit of straight line speed as well down the back straight. Of course, one of the longer back straights of the North American circuits. So yeah, great that of course Formula 4 is back here this weekend. So yeah, really trying to throw the car over the top of the hill. This corner though, where I made a bit of a mistake in my qualifying run, that's going to be a really important one to try and get right throughout the course of the session there, as we are slightly disconnected from those cars in front. I still think we're gaining a faint toe, but as they start going wheel to wheel up at the front of the order, maybe this isn't a bad spot to be in. I just want to try and gain some iRacing. I want to get my Formula license up to 2K at some point in the not too distant future, but obviously we'll wait and see about that, as obviously first and foremost, of course, most of the Formula 4 races I've done have ended up with a spin or a mistake at some point, so goal number 1 is not to do that around a circuit where it can be quite easy just to make those little mistakes as well. Said just trying to hang on to this group of cars in front. Lucas just behind me as well, hanging on to my coattails, and then there's a bit of a gap back to Ignacio a little bit further behind there. Brake just past the 2 marker board. A little bit of front locking there, but still getting the car tucked into the apexes. There we go, more wheel-to-wheel action just going on in front. Not going to try and tempt fate or anything like that, but the way some of these guys are racing, we could see an accident at some point here, as someone behind. It's always hilarious. I'm pretty certain the thanks message is meant sincerely inside iRacing, but I only ever read it sarcastically. So there you go. A little bit more wheel-to-wheel racing there as the 3 car just gets forced out in the end. Or Eagle's internet, I'm impressed he's hanging on inside the session, as in towards the S's. Who's going to lift out? I'm just going to try and wait in the wings. It looks like they've done alright there. As Sawyer just struggling to keep up a little bit. Is our leader now. It's actually got a little bit of a breakaway with all of this going on, and then P2 has gone to the Shadow Realm. That was definitely not where you want to be out there, and well, that's going to be a freebie then for us nice and early on in the race. I think that was Raul, but I could be wrong. No, I think Raul's actually broken away at the front of the order, so yeah, he was rapid in qualifying. I think only 2 drivers dipped into the 149, so I think he did it on both of his laps. So very good effort here. But we're in the battle for the podium, so I think our leader has just been able to bolt kind of the perfect moment there as everybody else squabbled behind, and then P2 taking a bit to try and push to close back in. Made his own little errors. Here we go. Soraya trying to get a run back down the inside of Igor to make our way back towards the start-finish line. Well, the double slipstream working wonders for us as we try to close in as well. Got to try and get too aggressive. Well, we might have to get a little bit aggressive there. That was not my intention. He just broke way earlier than I was expecting. Luckily, we still get it stopped on the apex. Is he going to try and have a look back down the inside? Yes, he will. And don't really want to try and hook it up around the outside there. Like I said, that wasn't my intention to go for that. He just broke a lot earlier than I was expecting. So I had to try and just avoid him more than anything else, as he's not going to give himself the best run out through in towards the S's. Of course, this section isn't technically a straight, but very much feels like it. So, yeah, definitely not going to allow me the run up through there, and that's going to allow Soraya just to start breaking away a little bit. So we've got to try and time this. Don't get run into the back of. Easy does it. Up over the curbs. Yeah, we need to try and get a good run out of Oak Tree. R.I.P. Never forget. Can you use all that curb? Yeah, you can use all that curb as well, so that's alright. But yeah, it's a bit difficult, obviously, to stick behind Eagle when you don't really know where his car is. I think he's probably the bigger problem early on in this, but very, very quickly you're starting to see some of our front runners just fanning out a little bit. Say leader is still Raul, who was rapid, but looks like with the slipstream, everybody just closing back in a little bit. Again, Igor not getting that car where he needs it. Come on, we've got to try and get the run back down in towards turn 1. I know he's pretty brave. I want to try and hook it up back around the outside there. Surely that's a good run though. Out of the final corner, took a little bit less on the way in to try and make sure we got everything on the way out. So are we going to be able to get a bit of a run back down in towards turn 1? Is he going to defend the inside line? Yes, he will. Oh, tries to move over a little bit aggressively. So we will try and go the long way around as someone else just rejoining the circuit. Who was that then? That was Seth, who just made a little bit of an error. So Igor now going to be wheel to wheel with him. So this is not what I like. I'm just a little bit scared of the car behind as well. Just show the nose, see if we can force a bit of an error, but not quite happening that time round. But say with Seth now right there, might be even more difficult to try and get a run on Igor around this part of the circuit. So you've got to be careful. Every time Raul seems to come under pressure, the guy behind him makes a mistake. So I don't quite know whether he's got some telekinetic powers or something like that. As again, just can't do anything up around this part of the track. So just trying to take it easy. So worried that Lucas is going to run over the back of me at some point. Just trying to be nice and smooth on that throttle there. But yeah, a lot of other guys a bit braver trying to attack the curbing on the exit of the corner there. Like I said, you can run really wide off that corner. VIR isn't the strictest circuit for track limits inside the sim. But yeah, you have got to be very, very careful of it. This guy further back set some good lap times. Maybe you just got a good toe. So, come on. What is this guy doing? It's just, you just can't see where he is. This is the problem. If he had fine internet, then you feel a bit more confident trying to go for stuff, but you just got no idea where that car is half the time. Did I get a good run out of that final corner? I think, again, we've done all right. Definitely not as good as a run I would have wanted, but hopefully we're still going to be able to do something on the run back down in towards turn 1 as we were trying to have a look to the inside. Just make sure we get it slowed down there. And there we go. Finally, we're through on Igor. That's important. I don't think he thought I was going to get that stopped towards the apex. But it means we can go on the hunt for the two in front of us there as leave the car in 4th gear through there. And then just as you run off the exit curb, is your braking reference point in through these next couple of turns. This will be a good idea to kind of see what our pace is actually like. So you can really bounce off those curbs out to the back straight. Oh, it's not really the back straight, but you know what I mean. This flat out section, those curbs can really just kind of bounce you around and keep you inside track limits. But the gap 0.9 seconds, so we're going to need to be brave up over the top of the hill here, just to see if we can try and bring that gap a little bit down. quite going to happen, though. We've still got this corner. So he took a really, really wide line on the entry there. Really tried to hang it off of the corner, but we've done a pretty good job. Like I said, we've stayed within that 1 second. And Seth definitely isn't getting the slipstream, or the kind of the real benefit of the slipstream from the car in front of him either. So hopefully we are going to close in on him before he can close in on Soraya. Oh, locked up the brake. Easy does it. Oh, that was not good. And now Igor, come on, don't look for it down here, buddy. It's not worth it. Luckily it does back out. We did take to the skies in backing out, but we all got away with it. No harm, no foul. I mean, Seth there nailed it through those final couple of corners, unless Soraya and I both just made a little bit of a mistake. He got a really, really good run through that final turn. New personal best, that's good. Again, just snagging those brakes. Don't want to do that too many times. You can easily cook the rubber. There's the two behind me now going wheel to wheel. They're banging around just behind me, so got to be careful. We've got to try and take the opportunity to get away there, as that was plenty of curb, but not really where I needed it. Come on. Really just got to focus on exits of corners. Maybe if those two battle in front a little bit more, we can close back in, but immediately once we finally got past Igor, I've been driving terribly. Up in towards the S's once again then. See how powerful that slipstream is when you're a little bit closer behind. Pretty much gets right up my trumpet. That's how we get up through the top there as we'll go in front. Really trying to risk it. Ooh, easy does it, easy does it. Just felt the back end trying to come round, so gather it up. A little bit of steering, a little bit of brake. Just got to be really, really careful. As you can see there. Yeah, Seth last lap 49.9. We ran a 50.4, which isn't bad going actually, considering the lockups I had. But still, yeah, not as quick as I need to be. That's what we need to be doing into the corners, getting it nicely hooked up on those grey curbs, building up a little bit of a gap. No idea where Eagle's gone. He must have been there somewhere. Not sure we'll even be able to go watch that one back either. Oh, yep, he's disconnected. But I'm sure if I try to have a look at the replay, his car will be to the skies, to the moon, and maybe at some point here at Virginia International Raceway. Leader 50 flat. No idea what we did. Come on. Nice and tidy through those first couple of corners. 50.6, a second slower than the guy in front last lap. Seth is flying along at this stage of the race. So that's my first 1X. Just trying to explore the limits of grip through there. And, well, like I said, we've got to try actually getting to the end of these F4 races without going for a spin at some point. I'll take the 1X rather than a bigger error there. I think we've got one. Will we have one more lap after this one? I honestly don't know. I think we might just get 2 more laps after this one. We'll have to take a look, obviously, when we get back round, whether we get the white flag out. But I'm hoping if these two can battle a lot more, maybe, just maybe, we can close back in a little bit here. I wouldn't complain with a 4th place finish. But I would love just a little bit more. Come on, nice and tidy on the throttle. So you try and get the power down out onto the back straight. I think we will have 2 more laps here. I don't quite think we're going to get round to the finish. I think we should, get to the finish line within the next 30 seconds. So yeah, 1 minute 50 lap time. So we should get an 8th lap out of it, at the very least. Oh, where am I going? Where am I going? On the grass there. That's not the line we need. Especially if those two in front are starting to battle a bit more. Looks like... Whoa. Hello. Got to look at where I'm driving. I was just looking off the circuit there, spotted the yellow flag, and wondered what on earth was going on. I need to actually look where I'm going there as a second incident point picked up. Seth has made the move now on Soraya as well. But white flag is not out. So we have got 2 more laps then. So you get a little bit more value for your money in this Formula 4 race today. So look at that, those two still wheel to wheel. This is important. This is really, really good for us. Just allowed Lucas inside the 1 second zone yet again. need to try and hit our marks. Really want to do more F4 racing. I do feel like with the popularity of it on the sim, could become a backbone of this channel. Kind of already is with the limited amount of videos I've done so far. A massive thank you to everybody for the support though. And apologies there haven't been any kind of normal iRacing videos in the last couple of weeks. Obviously preparing myself for some of the special events. I haven't really had much time to kind of do other random videos because of course things like the F1 channels take a bit of priority and all that good stuff as well there. As again, just see I'm trying to fight the back end to carry the speed, to carry the momentum through those corners. Really, really satisfying. And when you kind of get the car sliding around on the limit of grip, I want to see how close we can get to a 49, despite the fact I've got no slipstream. I feel like we might just be able to do it there, as, say, Lucas only 8/10 back now. Maybe there could be an incident between the two in front of me. They're racing pretty hard towards the end, but Lucas is still taking more and more out of me. So I'm trying to be quick, but he seems to be quicker, and with the benefit of slipstream, I really make that work. As soon as I say that, though, just makes a little bit of error out of the final corner. So as long as I don't do anything stupid, surely we're going to be able to hang on for this, as those two in front are really putting on a bit of a show now. Wheel to wheel back towards turn 1. Come on, come on. That was a 150.45 again. Pretty much identical with my best lap. So, oh, that was close. Just saw him trying to have a look down the inside. That's going to be another 1x, but we are closing in rapidly on these two if they keep doing this. Just got to try and take the opportunities as and when they come. Let's see if there's any more rogue sends that are coming here. I'm more than happy to try and pick up the spoils if we possibly can. I'm hoping. I don't think I'll get my A license because I don't do enough B-class Formula Series on the sim, but oh, that's a 1x as well. That's a bit stupid. The others before now, I kind of could understand that one. Yeah, really just stupid on my behalf. We see Soraya try and go for something. Surely he's going to set himself up down the back straight. So that's the line you want through there. Nice and tidy. One smooth motion on the brakes and one smooth motion back on the throttle. We've got a couple of lapped cars as well that may be about to get in the way, but will there be handbags in towards these final couple of corners? These two have been happy to battle quite aggressively up to this point. As we go over the brow of the hill, we temporarily lose sight of them. Still wheel to wheel though in towards these final couple of corners. Soraya couldn't do anything on the entry, but he's going to still try and have a look down the inside there. Is he going to just focus on trying to get a good run out of the final corner? Is he going to be able to get that good run out of the final corner? I think he has done. This is going to be wheel to wheel back towards the line. Is it going to be Seth? Is it going to be Soraya? Soraya pulls out of the slipstream. I think Seth's just hung on in the end. What was the gap at the finish? 0.07 of a second between them. GG to those two. But happy with the race we ran in the end. P4's not a bad result. Let's go take a look at our incident reports. Well, having a look then at our incidents. First one coming up through the S's. You see the yellow car just in front gets a little bit wild, and I think that's just a fairly standard kind of Constantining up effect, isn't it? I want to see how the yellow car ended up running off the road in the first place. Just got barreled off by one of the purple cars in front. But yeah, that one fairly kind of, you know, lap 1 racing as you would expect to see. A little bit further on then, green car making our way down. I think he's broke a little bit too late there. Almost collects the guy in front. Still runs wide, and then after not collecting him originally, decides he's going to have him anyway. Yeah, bit sloppy driving that from our green car. Black car did everything he could to avoid it, but sometimes the racing gods are just not in your favour. Pink car down in towards turn 1. That is very late on the brakes, but even later, what is that yellow and blue car doing? About 6 cars have gone off down in turn 1 then. Chaos everywhere in that scenario. I mean, this guy, yeah, I thought he'd broke a little bit late. Listening. He's braking a fair bit later than I would there, and you see, almost running himself off the road, but the blue car, I think that looked like one of those ones where, however late he brakes, I'm going to brake later. And, well, the pink car, unfortunately, seemed to bear the brunt of that incident. Next corner, yellow number 17. I think I heard him upshift on the way in, which I think caused that one, as this is another guy spinning. Yeah, he upshifted on the way in. 5th gear you do not want through there. The back end just will not be able to find anything. Will this be a dangerous rejoin? Yes. In fact, he's not even going to rejoin once dangerously. He's going to do it twice. That's good going. Or this was P2, wasn't it? Dipped a wheel on the grass on the way in. Never got it slowed down. Wall. Tyres gone. GG. At least we know what happened there now. Bit later on then. Opportunistic move perhaps? No, just got caught up with the Constantina and the green car behind. Didn't really react in time. One of those horrible ones where if you're the car behind it's frustrating. But he's only really got himself to blame there. If you just take a look on the way in. Just kind of, yeah, didn't react ever. And gets spun out. Does he take the blue car with him? Blue car does a good job to dodge him in the end. Anything else happening then? A little bit later on. I mean, it's F4. There's always going to be chaos. The 17 with the most opportunistic move I ever did see. That is disgusting. Not a fan of that one. Orange car now. Dips a wheel on the grass on the way in. And does the typical F4 thing. You just overheat those tyres slightly. You have to be so under the limit after that that it is a complete disaster. He's fairly patient with his rejoin though, so he wins a couple of points back. Here's the incident that happened behind us then. Igor brakes really early. Now, that in itself, I would blame this kind of black and blue car for, but Igor's, remember, he's all over the place in this race. We can barely see him, as proven by that. He's let off so early there, and gets netcoded anyway, so unlucky. Can't really blame the other guy, though. Igor needs better internet. Anything else, then, from this race? Late on... Another one just making a little bit of a wobble. That's the 3 car that goes for a spin. Fairly kind of standard stuff. Is this going to be another episode of You've Cooked the Rears? Yes, it is. The 18 goes for a nice pirouette, and well, the 17 jumps out of the way rather extremely to avoid him. Orange car up at the top of the hill. Don't want to take that much curb. Dips the wheel on the grass, and that's going to be another pirouette as well. A lot of pirouettes in this race. Gets back on, and pirouettes again. That's a little bit embarrassing. Is he going to get going this time? Yes, he does. Fair play. Here we go then. This is a bit of a battle right towards the end of the race. What on earth is the 5 car doing? That is terrible driving by the 5. Can we take another look at that? So, he's already on the grass to try to avoid him. The 5 car swings out. I get that the circuit kind of arcs around slightly to the left, but... yeah, luckily the 5 car ate the barrier and the 15 didn't, and he didn't even lose a place in the process. Don't think he got any damage either, so yeah, I think that was karma for the 5 car. Crashgate. I've witnessed Crashgate inside iRacing. He's aware you don't get safety cars on this game, isn't he? That is a rather tremendous rage quit to finish us off. There we go then. Quite a lot of incidents, as we would come to expect from F4. But let's head back to the pit lane, and we'll take a look through our final race results. Well, taking a look then at our final race results, and a sea of green is not something I say that often inside iRacing. 0.03 SR gained, 62 I rating as well. Raul, pole position, fastest lap, led every lap, 0 incident points. What more could he possibly want from this race there? A dominant drive. Seth, like we said, hung on by just 7/100ths of a second ahead of Soraya. So it was Spain, England, or UK, I should say, up at the top of the order. Good drive as well by Luca behind me. You know, I could trust him racing close behind as well. But yeah, overall, a really good race. And hopefully soon enough, we're going to get up to 2K I rating as well there. Igor, on Brazilian internet, like we said, he needs to try and get that sorted as well. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon with more iRacing content.